Hey everybody, it's Zach having a talk with you today, a heart to heart. I don't make these kind of videos often, but I figure it's time to make one. It's not going to be very scripted. I journaled some thoughts to help me kind of get an idea of where I'm going to be going with this. I don't know how long the video is going to be, but and this video is certainly not going to be perfect, but testing a couple things here. So as you can see, I have some space behind me. This space is actually for the watchful viewer. This was in Rocket League Anime episode 2. So if you know, you know, you're an OG. Um, but otherwise, we're going to be talking about just kind of, I don't even know what I'm going to call this video, but let me start by saying I'm having a hard time. A lot of my videos are about uplifting and inspiring people based on the things that I've learned in the books I read. Things like from Can't Hurt Me, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, Choosing to Be Single, The Wim Hof Method, How to Talk to Anyone About Anything. That's off the top of my head. Atomic Habits, a lot of books I've read, and many more that I'm reading. I'm picking up some Jordan Peterson books, some other things, like with Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins, he wrote a book never finished as well. So it's another book I can read of the kind of same genre. I read all these self-help books. I do a lot of thinking, research. I'm very interested in solving this problem. And this problem is one, it's defeating depression and anxiety. That's my goal for anyone watching this, to inspire them to be able to defeat depression and anxiety, as I have. And I say have because, well, why am I making this video, right? Like, I'm falling a little bit into depression lately. And I think the thing about depression is, or really anything, is you say you defeat it, but you never really truly defeat something quite like that. I don't think you can per se. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's a part of the process, is me learning, whether I'm wrong or not. So the more I learn, the more I'm able to give you definitive answers. I look up to a lot of people like David Goggins, like Jordan Peterson, just as two examples. These are two very different people, but what they have in common is they're very sure of themselves in a good way. They know exactly what they're talking about. They're very knowledgeable on the subject, and they can give you clear and identifiable steps to solve your problem and to identify your problems and to come out of it. And this is what I want. This is what I want to become. And sometimes in my videos, it seems like I have it figured out by the message I'm telling you. And I think at the time I'm making the video, I feel that way. I'll give you an example. In the video, the Vinland Saga video, for example, I felt very strongly about the fact that you can have no enemies. You can become someone who is peace loving and chooses to de escalate conflict more than they choose to escalate conflict, and to be able to make friends with adversaries, things like that. Um, but then something will happen to you next week, and you're like, man, where is that energy at? Like, it's there, but it's not there. Like, I can't. I'm not that person right now. The person I was in the person I was in the failure video. Failure is the path. I guess you could say I'm doing that pretty well right now. Like, in some sense, I'm failing. But failure is, as if you've watched that video, you know that it's not quite so simple. Failure and success are kind of the same thing, depending on how you look at it. Because failure can lead to success, success can lead to failure. It's really what you do with it that matters. So if I'm currently failing, and I'll explain how I'm failing in a little bit, in the sense that I'm becoming more depressed or sad, or things aren't going the way I want them to. I'm not feeling happy despite the fact that I'm doing the right things. I kind of have to solve this, you know? Like this is the whole point of what we're doing. So I did some thinking, and I wouldn't say it's solved per se, but it's kind of the first step of the solution, which is identifying the problem. And my problem is two things broadly. Two things. The first one is the desire for companionship. So wanting a woman, basically. And this is where the being okay with being single. I don't have the book title on me. Hang on. Okay, so it's called Being Single on Purpose. That's the book I was talking about. I'm almost done reading it. The idea of this book is what I need the most right now, which is being okay with being single. Like, not only, and what that breaks down to is being content with yourself, being happy with yourself, and your whole self and who you are, and not pursuing anyone until you're ready to, basically. And the kind of season of life I'm in right now, this is what I journaled about too. Seasons of life as well. That's important to understand, which we'll talk about. Like, my season of life right now is I'm a student. I'm graduating. This is my last semester, thank God. But until December, I'm still a student. So what that means is this is my season. This is what I'm doing. Like, that is my purpose currently. It may not be the purpose I want, I tell you that. But it is my purpose right now. So while I'm a student, I have to make the most out of that situation. And whatever I do outside of being a student is just bonus. It's just icing on the cake, per se. But I have to acknowledge that. I have to concede the fact that I can't do everything I want to do right now because I'm a student. And there may always be like a because I'm this or that. And I don't want it to become an excuse, but there's just, you know how it is. You know, when you work, when you're a student, when you're in college, you're just, it takes it out of you, for one. And two, time wise, it's a lot. It is a lot being a student. And I'm not even taking that many classes right now. My last semester, I'm just taking 4 classes, but it's still a lot. Because they're senior level classes for the most part. That's a lot of work. Especially when you're not too passionate about it. But everything is useful, and even my situations and the classes I'm in are useful, so I have to make the most out of it. But that's what I mean, a season of life. And I get this idea of season of life from my friend Connor and Mason. They gave me this idea. Another season of life that I'm in is running. That's my current physical season. I'm a runner right now. I may not, so after November, when I do a marathon, I may want to change my season. I may want to do something else. But these are the kind of things I'm thinking about, right? So when I think about the need for companionship, women wanting a woman, the thing is that's been bothering me, I suppose, one of the things, right? This is one of the two. It's, it's hard to be alone, for one. It's hard to not have that support, that love, that companionship, positive reinforcement. I want to start a family. I want to share my life with someone. I'm a sexual creature. I want to have sex. All these things, they matter, and they add up. But you have to weigh the other side of the scale too. Where am I at in life? Well, we talked about it. I'm a student. I'm a runner. And I also move in a year. I'm moving to Japan again. So it's not a good time to be in a relationship. That's the reality of the situation. Okay. So what does it leave me with? Well, I know I can't be in a relationship right now logistically, and I also know that I'm probably not ready to be in a relationship yet because I still need to grow as a person. So I have so many reasons why I shouldn't be in a relationship, and yet I still long for one. It's kind of annoying, right? But for one, that is the reality of the situation. And for two, I have to give myself some credit. I've come a long way, and despite the fact that things are getting hard right now, um, I have a tracker for things that I'm doing in my life. Currently, I call it monk mode, which sounds kind of funny, but it gets the point across. Essentially, I'm not pursuing women, but I will talk to girls, I will flirt with them, I will get that energy out. But I'm not looking for a relationship because I can't be in one right now. I really can't. Because there's so much more I have to do with myself, and I'm moving. So when I think about it that way, it's a little easier to come to terms with it. And this monk mode thing, I've only been doing for like 20 days. 20 days, that's all. So, have I changed in 20 days? Definitely. Am I going to continue changing? Yes. So, I have to look at it. And I'm talking through this with you as well. You know, I don't always know exactly what I'm gonna say, but um, I am changing and I am getting better at it. So, 30 days comes, 40 days comes, 60 days comes, things will be different. I'll feel different. And the ultimate goal is to be happy being single. So even after I move to Japan and I do or do not find a girlfriend, let's go with I don't find a girlfriend, maybe for a long time. Am I still happy being single? That's the goal. Okay? If I'm still happy being single, then it doesn't matter if I have a girlfriend. If I'm not happy being single, then two things. One, have I really grown that much? And then two, that's just a sad way to live, right? To always want something, to always want more. It's not what I want to be. I want to be peaceful within myself, love myself to the extent that I don't need someone else. But of course, I want to start a family, I have goals. So there's a balance with it. I'm still learning, much to learn, but that's kind of what I think about. So that's the first thing, okay? That's been dragging on to me, right? Um, and people can relate to this, right? Like, you look around, I go to school almost basically every day, except for Saturday and Sunday. I see beautiful girls. I see people in relationships. I see people hugging, kissing, whatever, like, and sometimes you see a girl with a guy and you're like, I'm not saying anything, but you know, feel like you could make a better choice. But hey, that's her. That's not me. But and that's an ego thing too, I don't want to look at a relationship and say that or think that. I want to be like, okay, I'm happy for them. And that's growth too. First, to acknowledge that that's a problem, and then two, to want to be that. Okay, so those are those are the things for wanting a relationship. And the second thing is living. It's kind of a broad thing. I want to live my life with purpose towards something. What that means is becoming the person I want to become, having the goals I want to have. I'm making a video very soon about dreams, which you'll kind of understand a bit more what I'm talking about. But essentially, I have these dreams, okay? And if I feel like I'm not living up to my dream, then I feel like shit. And it's really that simple. Why would I not feel like I'm living up to my dream? Well, there's a couple reasons. One is I'm not living my life with purpose, which could mean I'm overindulging in food, alcohol, weed. May not be working out enough. I may be playing games too much, watching too much TV. Um, not, basically too much of something and too little of something. And there's a lot of skills I want to develop, like piano and becoming a better typer on the computer, um, writing, creative writing, getting better at YouTube videos, um, all these things I want to cultivate and become better at every single day, days on top of days. Like, you feel like you're not moving towards that. Another good one, I just thought of it, studying like Japanese, becoming better at Japanese. Um, and when you feel like you're not getting closer to all these things you want in order to be the person you want to become, it weighs on you. And that's what's been weighing on me. And the reason is because of school, because of being busy, not having time to do what I want to do. I do what I should do every day. I have a morning routine. I have there's certain things every day that I have to do. And there's rules I have in place that I try to follow to the best of my ability. And I still work out very regularly. And have goals for that as well. So while I may not be moving towards all my goals the way I want to, I have to concede. Okay, concede is a fun word. Surrender is another fun word. I need to concede the fact that I can't do everything I want to do right now. And the reason is because I'm a student. It goes back to the seasons of life. Because I'm a student, anything I do outside of being a student is a bonus. My running to run a marathon is a bonus. I can't expect to do everything every day. When I live like that, it's not sustainable. I've done it. I think back to 2022 when I did the Atomic Habits journey, and I did it for like 270 days or whatever it was. I think the title of the video is my 90-day journey or something like that, but it was really 270 days. And the reason why Atomic Habits failed the way it did 2 years ago, is because the systems I had in place were not sustainable over a long term. Essentially, I was doing too much with too little focus, and I burn out like a flame, like a candle. I don't have a candle on me. I have a candle over there. Not in space. It's behind my dresser, which is behind my green screen. This candle has a certain amount of wax in it, and that wax is your drive and your ability to keep moving towards your dream. Eventually, it'll burn out. Then you're left with whatever you're left with, fumes, I guess. And there's a difference between running on fumes when you're doing something like physical or like you're trying to grind out something, one thing. But when you're talking about something you do every single day, you can't run on fumes. You can't expect your car to work if you just like never fill it up with gas, Like eventually it's just gonna fucking shut down, dude. So I needed some gas. I needed some NOS. It's a Fast and Furious joke. I don't know if you get it, but it's funny, man. I'm talking through it and I feel better already. Sometimes you just gotta talk through some bullshit. It's really not that big of a deal. I am moving very well in the right direction. My standard of what I want to do and become and who I am every day is a lot different than most people's standards, and that's not like an ego thing, it's just reality. Like, I would say probably my standard of myself is a little unhealthy, and because of that, I can tend to be extremely hard on myself. And no one's harder on me than me, you know? And I have to acknowledge that. I have to acknowledge how far I've come, where I'm at now, and where I'm going, to appreciate it all. And yeah, I mean, we're talking through it. You know, you kind of get my thought process, you know, how it is. We always want more. We will always want more. We will always feel like we can be doing more. Um, the easiest example I can give is when you run, like, let's say a mile. When I broke my personal record of 1 mile, which was, off the top of my head, it was like, I don't know, 5:42 or something. A sub 6 mile when I was in, I don't know, 11th grade or something like that. The fastest I've ever ran. You finish that 1 mile and you feel like you could have went faster. When I did the 10K and the half marathon, you feel like you can do more when you're finished. And that feeling can really get to you if you let it. It's the same way when it comes to studying, when it comes to learning things, skills. Um, you always feel like you should be able to do more. You can do more, you know. But that's where consistency comes in. The 1% over the course of time rather than trying to do 10% every day. And you burn out. If you do that 1% every day, then you're going to get somewhere. And it's the same way when you finish something you've worked a long time on, you have to realize that you put in the work, you achieved what you achieved, and if you feel like you could have done more, then maybe you could have. But you know, what are you going to do about it? The only thing you can do about it is move on, train, and do the next event. So if I relate that to my situation right now, the only thing I can do about it um, is just keep moving forward and realizing the fact that I have changed, I am changing, and when I'm at however many days in the future, I will be even more changed. And it's easier said than done because you're imagining something that isn't real. But it's only real if you don't believe it's real. You know, if you don't believe you can be the person who's happy being single, then I don't think you can become that. So, I believe that I can be happy being single. I believe that I can move towards what I want in life with purpose within the right season. So, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not perfect. I don't know everything. I may have said some dumb shit in this video, maybe not. Maybe it sounds pretty cool. But that's how I feel. And I'm gonna keep going. And maybe this was inspiring in its own way to show you that I'm not perfect and that I still struggle. Um, because we're all human and we all fall sometimes. But it's what you do when you fall that matters.